Okay, we are live, I think. How are you all doing? Can you hear me? Am I coming through okay on Coin Bureau clips? Hello, everyone. I'm very much enjoying reading this chat. Note to self: I must put the stream up sort of in a holding pattern early in future, so as you guys can get started in the chat, because I very much enjoy reading it. Hello, everyone on TikTok. Thank you for joining. Yes, portfolio. Yeah, I think a lot of portfolios are tanking at the moment. It's not great out there, is it? It's pretty rough out in the markets today. We'll talk about that in a second. Hello. Oh, big hello from Cornish Crypto. Fantastic. Welcome. What a beautiful place Cornwall is. From Peru, from Australia, Calgary, Alberta, checking in. Well done, everyone. Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. Right, folks. Look, first up, 100% full disclosure. I'm not feeling great today, as you can probably tell. The reason is that I went to the cricket yesterday in London at Lord's, one of the greatest places on this beautiful earth, and I am consequently feeling a little bit washed out, shall we say. Yesterday there was quite a lot of jolliness engaged in, let's put it like that. So yes, I'm suffering a little. I can see it from your haircut. Yeah, hair's all over the place. Mind is all over the place. Eyes are looking, no doubt, in two different directions at once. So bear with me, folks. It could be a slow one today. A fairly sort of low octane Coin Bureau live stream. I mean, generally that's the sort of theme, isn't it? But yeah, I've basically been cricketed. Exactly, Daniel Stokes. Any relation to Ben Stokes? I have been well and truly cricketed, and you need to be gentle with me today. In other words, please focus. No particularly searching questions. Nothing too difficult, please. Yes, I am afterwards. Oh, Bloody Mary. Oh my word. Do you know what? I started yesterday off with a Bloody Mary. I'm not going to tell you what time it was, but you wouldn't have been impressed. Anyway, yes, it is the guy from YouTube. Very nice to see you all. What do you think of my backdrop? So today I'm coming to you live from my father's study. That's right. I'm staying with my parents for a little bit because, very exciting, next weekend. Oh, I should also point out, I saw a little bit of chat about this in the comments on clips as we're waiting to go up. I should also say, finally happened, folks. Finally happened. I am now Mr. Mr. Guy from Coin Bureau. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy last few days. And hello, welcome everyone from wherever you're joining. Thanks for letting me know where you're all coming from Croatia, from everywhere. Thank you, and thank you for your congratulations. Do I have your permission to pass on your congratulations to Mrs. Guy as well? Because I know she would appreciate it. So I hope you don't mind if I pass on your congrats. But thank you, everyone. Very much appreciated, and it's great to see you all. So my first live stream as a married man. How about that? And also I think it's the first live stream I've done when I've had a really pretty terrible hangover going on. As I say, it's been a bit of a crazy week, really. Celebrated yesterday with some friends at the cricket, watching England get pretty much done up by South Africa, which was a bit of a shame. But it meant that we were much more able to concentrate on drinking, which is the reason why I both look and sound absolutely terrible. My wife said there's not an awful lot of difference. It's hard to tell sometimes. Yes, it is a very big step in my life. I saw some people speculating on the name of the child. I can tell you now, folks, no way do we have time for children. There's some interesting names. Vitalik if a boy, Luna if a girl. That Someone did that, didn't they? That turned out well. I think here's your first bit of alpha for the day, folks. If you have a child, don't name it after a cryptocurrency. Okay, you just never know. Yeah, a lot of people saying bring Mrs. Guy onto the live. Mrs. Guy is quite camera shy. Mrs. Guy is actually pootling about elsewhere, sort of doing stuff. So basically, yeah, we're staying at my parents'. As you can see, my dad's august bookshelves behind us, with the 2005 edition of Who's Who, just in case, you know. So yeah, I'm staying here. I'm coming to you live from the homeliest of the home counties, and yeah, it's a beautiful day outside. It's actually quite nice and warm, but I'm squirreled away in here. As you can see, there's lots of nice natural light, isn't there? If you buy crypto, you have to move in with your parents. That's what's happened. I can't lie. I've had to go back with the folks. No, so Mrs. Guy and I are off to Barcelona on Thursday evening. Not actually on a honeymoon, I should say. I don't have time. We don't have time for honeymoons, folks. There's too much going on. So we're off to Barcelona. It's a friend of mine's 40th, so we're going to celebrate it with him in Barcelona. And then from Barcelona, I am heading off to Dubai. That's right, finally. I may have mentioned this. I think I mentioned this on some folks in the industry said you've got to come out and see Dubai. I was there in November briefly for a sort of Coin Bureau get together. But I've decided to go out there I think for a while, for a few weeks at least, kind of check it out and see what it's all about. Yeah, what with weddings and everything else, it's taken a bit of time to sort of get off my backside and finally take the plunge. So yeah, that's my immediate plan. You guys shouldn't see any difference to the content hitting your screens, because we do have a use of a studio out in Dubai, and so we're going to have there shouldn't be any interruption to our scheduled programming. So yeah, but you will unfortunately have to you might have to endure a live stream from way up in some skyscraper overlooking the sea or something like that, and you may also have to see me wandering around in shorts as well. So I do apologize for that, folks, but in advance. So that's my plan. Yes, let's talk a little bit about crypto. All right, Todor, yeah, cut to the chase. Okay, oh dear, how's the stream getting on? Now, my parents assure me that we've got some pretty decent Wi-Fi here, but what are we thinking? What do we think? Is it generally working all right for people? I hope so. Yeah, let's see how we get on. It wouldn't be a Coin Bureau Clips live stream without at least one or two technical issues, would it? Let's just see what my team are saying on the message. Okay. Yep. They say it's good. That's good. Okay. Apologies if your streaming is all good. Lovely. Thank you. Okay. Let's talk about crypto. Let's just have a quick gander at CoinGecko through our fingers, shall we? Goodness, yeah, it's been a pretty tough 24 hours, hasn't it? Everything down. BTC flirting with dropping below 21k. Yeah, it's so what gives? What on earth is going on? Let me just move you TikTok guys around so you can see me a little bit better, I hope. Okay. Basically, why are the markets down? I think there are a few reasons for this. Firstly, one of the things I noticed when I was kind of looking through the headlines this morning, we've recently had an earnings call from Target, the big retailer out in the US, and Target's earnings are way down. Now, Walmart's earnings were actually beat expectations, but they came with a kind of warning. That it looks like consumer spending is really starting to nosedive over in the US of A. And traditionally, sort of the earnings calls from the likes of Target and Walmart are generally a pretty good bellwether of what is going on in the wider economy. So if people are generally spending lots of money at Target and Walmart, then obviously people have got kind of cash to spend. That looks from the Target earnings call, it looks like that is really slowing down massively. So yeah, that I think is one reason. We've also had some more jobs figures out in the US. Jobless claims are actually lower. Now, this may sound on the face of it a good thing, and it is, but for the markets, that can spell bad news, because that will give the Fed, our friends at the Fed, that will give them more leeway to hike interest rates more when they all get back from their holiday next month. So yes, as I've pointed out a few times, no rate hike this month because Jerome Powell and his buddies are all at the beach. But yeah, basically that's relatively low jobless claims figure is also spells possible higher rate hike when they come back in September. And I think probably the expectations look like around 75 basis points, or 0.75% rate hike when the Fed next does one of its press conferences next month. So higher interest rates mean higher cost of borrowing, which means people are forced to sell assets in order to pay their debts. And unfortunately, crypto is often one of the first assets to go in a high rates, in a situation like that. I say a high rates setting. I mean, this is really the first high rate setting that crypto has seen. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting time, but it can be difficult watching at times, can't it? So we also had those minutes from the last Fed meeting out yesterday. They were kind of neutral. I don't think they really told us anything we didn't know. But I think, I think all these concerns are around yet another hike in interest rates next month. I think we can pretty much say that is nailed on, and I would be betting on a 75 basis point hike. We've also got, I'm afraid there's more bad news, folks. There's also the housing market is showing signs of weakening. I saw something from CNBC earlier today. Home sales in the US were down 6% last month. That's a pretty steep drop. And I don't know if you've been keeping up with some of the videos on our main YouTube channel, but I have been talking about the housing market a bit recently. Thanks again, everyone. Guy, can I touch your hair? Sure, David. Yeah. There you go. Oh dear. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry you can't stay with us, Ajit, but go to the lab. That sounds exciting. North Dakota in the house. Amazing. Grandma is not super happy today. Of course, how rude of me. I forgot to give a big shout out to all the grandmas watching today, because as I gather, Coin Bureau is fast becoming the destination of choice for crypto interested grandmothers. And I can tell you now, folks, that makes me proud as anything. That is, you've made it when you've got the grannies on board. So thank you. Welcome to all grandmas. Good grief. So what else? I'm afraid, more bad news. There was a PricewaterhouseCoopers survey that's come out that's suggesting more we're going to see more job layoffs. We've also got the president of the St. Louis Fed, a man called James Bullard. He has come out in favor of a 75 basis point hike next month. So those are a few things. Basically, it very much looks like we've got rising interest rates, and yet we're still heading into a recession as well. So those, I think, are the main sort of macro reasons why crypto is crashing today. It's kind of a bit of a reality check after that rally that we've seen over the last few days. Obviously, all the excitement at the moment around Ethereum's merge, which I want to talk about in a little bit, because we've had some pretty interesting developments since I last live streamed. I'm talking about, obviously, the Treasury Department's sanctioning of Tornado Cash. Now, this is going to have, I think, this has big implications for crypto in general, but I think for the Ethereum ecosystem as well. It throws up a lot of very, very searching questions. Steve, you're right. Guy is hungover. Were you watching when I told you that, or is it just completely apparent? I've got to say, to be honest, I don't think I look generally any worse than I do normally, don't I? I mean, I pretty much have quite a few comments on most live streams saying it looks like I've just got out of bed. But now that I'm a married man, this is going to have to change. So next live stream will be shirt tie, immaculate hair, completely clean shaven. But it won't be the same, will it? It won't be the same. So how are all you guys getting on? How's it all going with you? I mean, I presume this is this is a bit of a tough day, isn't it? When taking a look at the market, seeing your portfolios down, it's I don't think many people are enjoying this today. Obviously, this situation is being kind of made worse. Obviously, I've just talked about the kind of macro factors that are driving sort of markets low. It's not just crypto as well, is it? Stock market is taking a bit of a beating today as well. There are a few crypto specific things. We want more crashes. Stephen, are you one of those watch the world burn types? But I mean, I suppose it does give more buying opportunities, doesn't it? Completely married man versus partially married. Well, I was as good as married before, but now it's official. So I think also some crypto specific things weighing on the markets. There's also been this news that Celsius is going to be has been given the kind of go ahead to sell off the Bitcoin that it is mining in order to try and plug some of this massive hole in its finances. I mean, it's not going to make, I don't think it's going to make an enormous difference, but it certainly is a bit of added sell pressure. Celsius has got a pretty big mining operation going on, so that will translate into some sell pressure, although I imagine most of that selling will happen OTC, will happen over the counter, so it may not have that much of an effect actually on the spot price of BTC in general. But you know, I think news like that, that sort of selling will take place in some way, shape or form, that could also be weighing on the crypto market as well. And then of course we have our old friend who always pops his ugly head up when we have a crash, and that is of course liquidations. So lots of people went long with leverage on BTC and of course other cryptos as well, got swept up by all the kind of bullish sentiment that's been swirling around for the last week or so, and the crash has wiped them out. All those long positions gone, which means obviously those positions get liquidated. That Bitcoin or that whatever they've gone long on gets sold, and that adds some more sell pressure, and it makes the crash all that worse. Which is why people shouldn't trade with leverage. There we are. Don't get me. You know what I get like when I start talking about leverage trading. I'm not a fan. Anyhow, okay, bottom will be October or November. Interesting, Miguel. Yeah. I think this is what a lot of people are saying. I've been chatting about this with colleagues over the last week or so, and a lot of them think, we could well see lower lows from here. I think obviously all the excitement around the merge, I think it could well keep markets going up for a little while yet. But I really think when winter comes along, I think we're going to see a real kind of downturn. That's what I'm planning for. That's what I'm kind of seeing, sort of looking at all the kind of macro tea leaves. Thank you, Dushan. It's not actually my bookshelf. It's my father's. As you can see, I don't know. You probably can't see the titles from here. There are a lot of books on gardening and a lot of Jeffrey Archer thrillers as well. And as you can see, none of us have made very much progress with the Rubik's Cube either. Guy, do you meditate? I do sometimes. I was in quite a routine of it until a few months ago, and then I don't know. Like I stopped going to the gym because it was just getting in the way of work, and all my routines got kind of a bit thrown out. So I basically need to get back into my daily routine. I've been a bit too sort of just kind of trying to do too many things, I think, the last few months. So that's a very long answer to a short question. I do, just not as often as I should have done. I've kind of got out of the habit a little bit, and I think it's meditation's one of those things you should try and get into a good routine of it. Health comes first, sir. You're right, it does. You're right. I wish I'd been aware of that yesterday, instead of drinking several pints of wine whilst watching the cricket, which for those of you who just joined, by the way, or for those of you who are thinking, God, he looks even more lived in than he normally does, and sounds terrible as well. The reason is I was at the cricket yesterday with some very good friends, And well, we just got a little overexcited. It was a beautiful day, but I mean, England weren't playing very well. South Africa were, but we just got a bit sort of, yeah, a bit kind of carried away. And wine and cricket, exactly, Thomas, exactly, sir. I mean, are there two things that go together so well? You know, is there anything else? I think not. Okay, so yeah, talked about I think that should sort of sum up really why the crypto market is kind of dumping as it is. It's a combination of all these kind of macro factors, all these concerns around odd noises coming from the background today. All these concerns around basically more interest rate rises and recessions and all that sort of horrible stuff, and you know, company earnings down and people losing their jobs. It's yeah, it's not good out there, folks. It's not good. That, I think, is why crypto is down along with everything else. And of course, you know, some crypto specific factors obviously making the crash a lot worse, namely, you know, mostly kind of liquidations. So there we are. How are you guys all doing? Is it warm where you are? Oh, because I'm coming to you live from my parents' house. There are a few kind of gems sitting around, as well as this. Sorry, TikTok, you can't see that. There we are. There we are. Look at that devilishly handsome young chap. That is, yeah, that is me many moons ago. That's always one of the joys of visiting your folks, isn't it? You get to see all your childhood pics. remember how young you once looked. Should I just put them together again just for comparison? I don't know. I kind of feel that should be, you know, that's like an advert for don't touch cryptocurrency. This is what it'll do. But there we are. So how are you folks all doing? Yeah, sorry, it's warm in here, and I'm also not feeling my best. Anyhow, what else? So obviously, Ethereum is still, the merge is still on track. They even brought it forward, didn't they? So it was, what was it going to be, the 19th of September, and now it's something like the 16th or something like that. Could even be before. So yeah, keep an eye on that. But obviously there is a lot happening around that. Grow the beard out, guy. Do you reckon? I didn't have a beard. There aren't any pictures of me with a big beard. I have had a big old beard in the past, but not for a while. Anyhow, what was I talking about? I was talking about Ethereum, obviously heading into the merge soon. That is still, we're less than a month away now. I mean, presumably. But there are, of course, a lot of questions still around the merge, and not everyone is feeling all that positive about it, because obviously with this enormously kind of consequential business regarding Tornado Cash. Those of you unfamiliar, Tornado Cash, this mixing protocol, you know, which you can use to, if you want to basically obscure where your funds have come from. This was a mixing protocol for Ethereum, for the Ethereum ecosystem. And obviously, the Treasury Department have sanctioned it. They're not fanned, and the reason that they're giving is because it's been used by the Lazarus Group, that are the kind of North Korean hacking squad, to launder sort of various stolen funds. Now, this is, yeah, I mean, this is obviously an issue. You know, hacking and the laundering of funds is something that needs to be dealt with. But I mean, as I've said, I've done a couple of videos about it now. I think I did one here on Clips. Did a longer form one for the main channel as well. You know, this is basically the Treasury Department sanctioning a tool. Which should be a common good. And I don't think it's really going to have much of an effect, because, I mean, okay, it's now sanctioned. That's not going to stop criminals from using it, is it? Because, you know, they're criminals. That's what they do. They don't care about the law. But what it does mean is that regular law-abiding folks like you and I now can't use Tornado Cash. Now can't, you know, that is yet another privacy tool that is coming under attack. And I mean, obviously, as I pointed out in one of these videos, the penalties for sanctions violations can be pretty bad. Like I think it's 30 years in jail or a $10 million fine, or maybe both. So it's a tough month. It's a tough development for the whole crypto ecosystem, really, and the implications for financial privacy and just privacy in general are massive. And as many people have pointed out, code is essentially speech, and shouldn't speech be protected under the First Amendment? Apparently not. Apparently the Treasury Department don't see it like that. But it is a very, very worrying sign. And obviously it comes with a lot of implications for Ethereum as well, because we've seen all these, these exchanges, all these kind of centralized providers, the likes of Infura and what have you, they're withdrawing support for it because they don't want to get sanctioned. But that raises a ton of issues around centralization and control of the Ethereum ecosystem, especially as it moves towards proof of stake. And I think this is something. This is the implications of this are the results of this are going to play out over the coming kind of weeks and months, really. But it's certainly a worrying development, and it means that we have to be kind of cautious. We have to ask questions about how the merge, how the switch to proof of stake. How is that going to affect? Is that going to, in fact, concentrate power into the hands of too many centralized entities? All these, and obviously we've got the likes of, the vast majority of staking, for instance, on the Beacon chain, is handled by just sort of 4 entities. I mean, Lido Finance itself accounts for nearly 33% of all ETH staked on the Beacon chain at the moment. So these centralization issues are something that's not going to go away. And there are a lot of questions being asked around this centralization as the proof of stake switch gets ever closer. So, I wonder whether that has also kind of conspired to take a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the crypto at the moment, because everyone's been getting pretty euphoric about the merge coming up. It is a massive moment. It's very, very exciting, but it does have some serious implications. We're going to be looking at it over the next sort of few weeks as well, because obviously it's the really big story in crypto at the moment. Do I look stressed? I'm just a bit sweaty and hungover, really, people. I'm afraid I need to have my glass of lemon squash. That's better. And I'm back. Okay, so all the excitement around the merge, and of course we've got something to keep your eye on as well, is the fact that the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is going to start offering ETH options from the 12th of September. And I mean, to me, that says just the amount that points to the amount of institutional interest in ETH, and obviously institutions, because of their because they're all kind of enslaved to ESG principles. Once Ethereum stops being a proof of work chain, in theory, that makes ETH a lot more attractive to institutional investors. So there's a sense that there is quite a lot of institutional money kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting to come in to ETH, which obviously is bullish news for ETH's price. Also for a lot of ETH-related tokens. And there's a few to look out for as well. Obviously, ETH itself, obviously things like the Lido token, Ethereum Classic as well. Because don't forget, folks, and this is worth remembering as well. The merge isn't 100% guaranteed to happen on time, or to go off without a fault. I mean, full credit to the Ethereum devs. They're obviously working, doing everything possible to make sure that it does go off without a hitch. But it can't be 100%. So what does that tell us? Well, I mean, it means that, we need to be hedged. And that's one of the reasons why I hold sort of various other smart contract cryptos, the likes of Sol and ADA and Near Protocol. That's why I hold them in my portfolio, partly as a hedge against anything going wrong with Ethereum. And obviously, as we get close to the merge, that we can't discount that possibility. I personally think it should. The signs are pointing to a successful merge, but folks, we really can't rule anything out. Don't be complacent, because crypto is one place where complacency will get you wrecked. So do be aware of that, folks. And obviously that means that as the merge approaches, we could well see pumps not just in the price of ETH and ETH related tokens, but also in kind of ETH rivals, so like Ethereum Classic. And obviously there's the speculation that ETH miners, once Ethereum goes proof of stake, ETH miners may well move their equipment across to mining Ethereum Classic. So there's a potential bullish case for that there. But also, yeah, we could see things like Solana, Cardano, near Polkadot, all these other kind of layer ones or layer zeros, rivals to Ethereum. We could also see pumps from them as well as people buy them to hedge. Be wary out there, folks, because it's pretty troubling conditions at the moment. Remember, we are certainly in a bear market. I'm surprised, actually. The last few live streams I've done, so many people have been in the comments asking, whether we are still in a bear market or when the bear market will end. And I haven't seen any of those today. I mean, maybe I just haven't been looking hard enough. But certainly, I think everyone's kind of got that message, haven't they? I think it seems like everyone's made their peace with the fact that we are in a bear market and going to be there for quite some time. So it's tough times out there. Stevenage, just the word Stevenage. Is that where you're watching from, Granule? What a wonderful place. Okay. So how are we all doing? Is the stream okay? Are people generally get that crystal ball out? We might not like what we see. How's the stream coming through for everyone? Do we have the kind of typical Coin Bureau Clips live stream glitches, or are we going sort of fairly to plan? Can people see and hear me all right? Quandary, September is historically bad for BTC too. You're right. That is true. Stream is great. All good. Excellent. Here in Riga, it's lacking and breaking up. I'm sorry, Alex. Generally seems to be pretty good. Who knew? My parents have decent Wi-Fi. My parents certainly have better Wi-Fi than the Coin Bureau office, which is why Coin Bureau HQ, which is why I'm not there today. The light keeps adjusting. Yes. Sorry about that. It's very. In fact, why don't I close some of these a little bit? Bear with me, folks. We've got the sun sort of coming in and out. If I do that as well, that might make the light a little better. Gosh, it's very warm in here. Your parents are ballers. They are. It's no volume. I got the same hair as Guy today. So many questions, folks. Coffee or tea? Coffee all the way. My parents do own some crypto. Now, I truly thought that the bear market could be about to begin a few months ago when my dad rang me up and said, "Guy, I think I'm going to buy some Bitcoin." I thought, right, okay, that is it. Top is in, folks. It's all downhill from here. It didn't quite work out like that, but suffice to say, he does he's kind of given up asking me how his Bitcoin is getting on, because he knows the answer. I don't think he follows the crypto news particularly, but he does certainly follow the financial markets, and obviously crypto gets mentioned all the time now in the mainstream media. Not always very nicely, is it? But you get a lot of coverage in the Financial Times and so. Guys, something about Mary hair. I can assure you, there's none of that in it, folks. It's just an absolute mess. Hi from Wales, ex-Londoner. Stuart, have you gone off to live the good life? Are you in a cottage halfway up a Welsh mountain? That sounds great, doesn't it? Just turn the internet off and forget about what's happening out in the markets. Okay, what did I think of the Channel 4 documentary? Yeah, good question, Claudia. I must say that, they didn't paint crypto in a very good light. And I think that was partly to do with the timing of it, because they actually, they came and talked to me before they filmed it. This is, for those unfamiliar, I featured in a documentary about crypto here in the UK. A couple of weeks ago? God, time moves so fast. Anyhow, it wasn't particularly complimentary about crypto. However, Channel 4 did change the title, so it was going to be called Cryptocurrency: A User's Guide. And then we were informed, a couple of days before broadcast, that it was actually going to be called Cryptocurrency: Has the Bubble Burst, or something like that, which is kind of annoying. But that's Channel 4's. That's Channel 4. They can kind of do what they like. So I thought it was a bit on the fuddy side, but I did my best to represent the industry and tell everyone why it's so wonderful. And it was nice to see some footage from the Coin Bureau conference as well, which I have such happy memories of. That was great, wasn't it? And of course, just before that, all that stuff with Terra kicked off. It just seems like a simpler, happier time. And it was only a few months ago. Okay, right. How we do? Lots of people still asking why we are crashing. Let's just have a look. How are the markets getting on at the moment? Has there been any change since we started the stream? It just no. Okay, so markets are crashing, basically, mostly macro factors to do with things like home sales in the US going down, fears about a recession. Got a lot of sort of reports coming out about basically a recession being on the horizon. Remember those GDP figures that came out recently in the US confirmed that the US was technically in a recession, though they're always pretty slow to admit it. So basically, sort of largely these macro factors. What were the other ones? There was a survey from PricewaterhouseCoopers suggesting that we're going to see more layoffs, and we also had some really disappointing earnings over in the US from big companies like Target. I'm not familiar with Target. I've been to the US a few times, but I don't think I've ever been into a Target. Is Target basically where everyone goes to get everything? We're crashing because Guy sold off his portfolio to fund his wedding. Oh dear! If only it wasn't. It was actually a very low-key affair. It was just me, our families, and a few close friends. And I tell you what, it was boiling. I was the sweatiest groom you have ever seen, because the place where we got married does not have air conditioning, and here in the UK we don't cope very well with extreme heat. So Target is M&S, Marks and Spencer. Is that right? Upscale Walmart. Okay, you guys have so much to teach me. Okay, so I mean, Target is a big deal over in the US, and Target is Walmart with a better mascot. Who got married? I got married. Target is like Walmart, but they try to appeal to younger people. Wow, in other words, don't get you guys started on Target. I think there's obviously some very strong opinions about Target out there. I thought you would get married at Hackney Town Hall. Some good friends of mine got married at Hackney Town Hall, but not me. I mean, I haven't lived in Hackney for a while. Although it would have been appropriate, since Hackney Town Hall is only kind of a stone's throw from the Pembury Tavern in Hackney, which is where I first heard about Bitcoin all those years ago. I should have thought that through more, shouldn't I? I should have got married at Hackney Town Hall and had the reception at the Pembury Tavern, and then invited all of you guys. Why did I not think of that? Goodness. Anyhow, so that's the reason why the market's down. For those of you just kind of joining us. We've had a lower jobless claim in the US as well, which gives the Fed kind of more leeway to raise interest rates. The Fed are coming back from holiday next month. 75 bp rate rise looks kind of likely for next month. So, guys, Target, stop beating up on Target, guys. Okay, I'm sure it's not that bad. A Greek grandma says hi. Are you the Greek grandma, Naughty Jackal? That's a great name, by the way. or is your grandma saying hi through you? Anyhow, however it is, again, welcome to all grandmothers watching today. Okay, so yeah, that's the reason why the market's going down, and obviously things like liquidations, all those people who went long with leverage on crypto, on Bitcoin, and what have you, them getting liquidated when prices go down, and that always makes a sell-off that much worse. So that is the reason why we've got the markets going down. I think we could still see a bit of a rally in the coming few weeks. I mean, long term, kind of going into the winter, I think the market has further to go. But I think we could certainly see a bit of a rally over the next, as the merge approaches. But guys, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. These are very difficult conditions to trade. So if you are going to buy, if you are aping in anticipation of a pump, you need to be careful, because it is very volatile conditions out there, as it so often is in crypto. So be very careful, folks. Okay, what else was I going to talk about? Now, there's a few. I mean, I know. Sort of generally, it's all quite pessimistic, and I'm being very pessimistic about the kind of prospects for crypto and the economy. Certainly, for the coming sort of months and years. But I mean, I think there are some chances that we could have some good news. One of my colleagues here at Coin Bureau pointed out a couple of interesting things. Actually, he sent me a link to a Reuters article. Which basically said, like, a number of large Wall Street banks are now back to trading Russian bonds. Similar, apparently with the blessing of US authorities. Obviously, sanctions on Russia have been pretty draconian since February. So it's quite interesting to see that Russian bond trading is kind of being allowed on Wall Street again. Does that tell us something? Do they know something we don't? Who knows? But it's certainly an interesting development. He also tells me, my friend as well, he was looking at entry requirements for the United States. The CDC appears to be reviewing vaccine entry requirements for the US. Now, could that point to a relaxation of that rule? I don't know. Could we be getting towards the point when we are no longer in a pandemic again? Because that news would certainly be very, very good for all asset markets, really. It'd be a bit of good news that we could really do with. And something else to consider as well is, obviously, everyone's talking about the merge, which is happening in September. But another big event coming up, not necessarily, not a crypto-specific event, but a big event in the calendar, is obviously the midterm elections in November, and they are fast approaching. And obviously, now this is a big moment, and I think pretty much the consensus is that the Democrats are going to have a pretty tough one, probably lose control of the Senate. So yeah, I think there's a lot of speculation that the US administration could be looking to try and put some really good news out there in advance of the midterms to give them a boost going into that election. Try and hold on to a few seats. So it's hard to say. It's hard you can't know what's going on in the minds of the US administration, but we can't rule out the fact that we may have a couple of white swans coming up soon. So, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why Russian government debt is being traded again on Wall Street. But that is very much speculation on our part. But it is something to keep in mind. And I think it's fair to say that the Democrats will certainly be looking for to get some news, some good news out there, ahead of those midterms. Thanks for everyone's good wishes. Greetings to all the Coin Bureau team. Thanks, Machiavelli, 1469, another great name. Thank you all. Yes, Truss versus Sunak. Who is on target? There's obviously we've got a prime ministerial race going on to replace Boris Johnson here in the UK. I mean, you really got to hand it to Boris Johnson. He got the boot. He still has to stay on until September, until his successor is appointed. And rather than kind of work on his legacy or try to get things done, he's basically just buggered off on holiday. I mean, I don't know. I kind of respect that. I don't know. It's just it's so. It really is just, yeah. I mean, I guess it sounds extraordinary, doesn't it? But I mean, what would you guys do? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'd do the same. But yeah, it's extraordinary. Anyway, that's got nothing to do with crypto. I do apologize, folks. Lots of people asking where Macy is. Macy, I think, should be in a plane on her way to Dubai as we speak. So yeah, I think there's going to be a few coin bureauers out in Dubai very, very soon. I'm following in her wake. My wife and I are heading over there next week. So yeah, as I say, watch out for greetings from Vietnam. Greetings. Thanks for tuning in, people from Michigan, from Ohio, from all over. It's wow. I love how international this is. So yeah, what was I talking about? Okay. A few crypto specific things. A lot of people have been asking about chilies, because obviously chilies, we saw quite a pump from that. Now there are a couple of reasons I think behind why chilies pumped. Obviously, well, until today, there was kind of just general good market sentiment, wasn't there? So obviously that carried everything. But I couldn't. It took me quite a while to work out what was, why chilies especially seem to be pumping so much. I mean, chilies, there's it's that great use case, this idea of fan tokens and more engagement with sports teams via Socios, which is obviously the platform that chilies, is the native token of. So there's tons of potential there. There's tons of use case, but I think actually, from what I could gather, the reason why chili seemed to pop off, especially, was when it's had something called the Pequin or the Pekin update. Now I'd forgotten all about the fact that actually Chili's is getting ready for a big network upgrade, which I think is going to come towards the end of this year, and that is going to bring the Chili's chain 2.0. And this is going to be a kind of EVM compatible blockchain that's going to kind of run alongside the main Chili's chain, I guess, kind of like a layer 2, really. But it's going to take a lot of transactional load and what have you off the Chili's main chain. So what this should mean is that the Chili's blockchain is able to run a lot faster, and also therefore give us cheaper transactions as well. So that, I think, and obviously that upgrade, that Scoville network upgrade, that hasn't happened yet, but they have had this Pequin update, which I think is a kind of precursor to the Scoville upgrade for Chile. So I think that was the best indication I could get of why Chile seems to have had a particularly green week. Let's just have a look and see how it is getting on now. Do we really want to know? Goodness me, there's a lot of red out there, isn't there? Let's have a look. Oh goodness, wow, there've been some big old falls in the week, haven't they? Chili's is kind of holding strong. It is ticking back up around 19 cents. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a good week for Chili's, and as I say, I think that is why that this pending upgrade to the Chili's chain, Chili's 2.0. So I think that could be why we've seen a pump from Chili's. Cardano. Now I couldn't find much information. It seems that we don't seem to have a date for Vassal just yet, do we? I don't necessarily think that's a problem. These upgrades, as we've seen with Ethereum, these things take time, and I'd much rather we saw Cardano roll out slowly. I mean, let's face it, doing things slowly seems to be Cardano's ethos, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm not too concerned about the fact that we haven't got the Vassal upgrade has been delayed. We don't seem to have a date for it yet, but I'd rather they kind of they went slowly and got it right. I did see there were some concerns over the Cardano testnet. I didn't really have time to sort of look very deeply into that, but that's what's happening with Cardano. And of course, we put out a video on Solana just yesterday, which I hope you guys were enjoying. Can I ask you guys as well? I mean, I know I know you may just follow us on TikTok, or you may just watch clips or whatever. But how do you feel about the? Have you noticed that we are now putting out our videos in 4K, and we've been messing around with the filming as well? I mean, how's that? Yeah. That's right, Yogi. Chili's, and yeah, we've obviously got the football World Cup coming up in Qatar. Is that December? Yeah, so there could be a lot of excitement around that as well. So yeah, are you enjoying the new look videos over on our main channel in 4K, and with we kind of messed around with the settings a little bit as well. We had some really awesome filmmaker dude come in a couple of weeks ago and just show us a few tips and tricks of the trade. So yeah, we've been trying to sort of make better quality videos over on our main channel, but we like to keep them nice and what happened there? We like to keep them nice and rustic here on clips, with our changing natural light and various technical issues. I don't think we've found too much definition. Is there such a thing, Robert? Or do you think I need to be in lower def? I think you're probably right. From Colombia. Saludos. Brilliant. Thanks everyone for joining. How are we doing on time? It is 10 to 4. Goodness, where does the time go on these things? I said to myself I'd probably do a much shorter stream today, because I'm still feeling extremely hungover after yesterday. And the cricket itself isn't going very well either. It's not like I can even fall back on that. 10:50 a.m. in Puerto Rico. Just getting started. Oh well, we're almost there at the weekend, guys. That's good, isn't it? That's good. I think we all need it. It's been another long week. So what else did I want to talk about today? Have people been reading the piece on Suzu and Carl Davis in the New York Magazine? That is a heck of a read. I think that came out earlier this week. And yeah, that is one of my recommendations for this weekend, folks. New York Magazine. I think it's, let me see, I might have the article up here somewhere. There's a very interesting one about Do Kwon as well. It is called "The Crypto Geniuses Who Vaporized $1 trillion." And as I say, that's in the New York Magazine. You can see that on their website. That is a very, very interesting read, and a good old cautionary tale as well. So that's something I highly recommend. And obviously, yeah, as I was saying earlier, there's all this, so much of the talk at the moment is around these sanctions with Tornado Cash as well. And something else that I mentioned in my in the video that I did on the main channel was the New York Agreement from back in 2017. Now, do you remember this? So the New York Agreement was when a bunch of not just crypto exchanges, but a lot of institutions, about 50 of them, if I remember rightly, got together to try and persuade the Bitcoin community to increase Bitcoin's block size. And the Bitcoin community, as in the nodes and miners on the network, said no. They outright rejected that. Now, this was a huge moment for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency in general. And it's been, a few people have been speculating that with this idea of on-chain censorship, which everyone is kind of now talking about as Ethereum moves towards proof of stake, and obviously with all the furore around the Tornado Cash sanctions, a lot of people are saying that this could be Ethereum's New York Agreement. And if you remember, a lot of people like to say that Ethereum is kind of one market cycle behind Bitcoin. So it could be about to have its New York moment, New York Agreement moment. And this is a real moment for the Ethereum community, basically, to come together and to kind of push back against the institutions, push back against all these powerful sort of centralized entities, which could gain far too much power over proof of stake Ethereum. And that means nodes, that means miners, that means developers on Ethereum, and some. I mean, Erica Wall put out an interesting tweet, basically putting forward the idea, that any institutions, that anyone that implemented protocol level censorship and who was staking should have their stake slashed. It's a really, really interesting debate to have. And yeah, I mean, keep your eyes on this, folks, because this is going to be really, really big news, especially as the merge gets ever closer. There was something else I wanted to, a couple of other things I wanted to recommend to you to have a listen of, or a read of over the weekend. Obviously, the first one was that piece I just mentioned, the piece in the New York Magazine, Zhu Su and Carl Davis of 3 Arrows Capital. Really, really interesting piece. There's also, one of my favorite podcasts is is Up Only with Kobe and Ledger. Their latest episode is just, I just really enjoy listening to those guys because they're so knowledgeable. They're also very, very funny, and they just kind of, they sit back and just talk crypto for a couple of hours, and it's always great fun to listen to, and very, very informative as well. And their latest one is just called Crypto Narratives with Kobe and Ledger, the latest episode of the Up Only podcast. That is well worth a listen to, as always. So if you're going to be pottering around at the weekend, doing job, maybe out in the garden or something like that, stick that on, and I promise you won't regret it. There's some really good stuff in there. And also, one thing that they disclosed was that they are going to be talking with Arthur Hayes at some point in the near future. Now, I've talked about Arthur Hayes a lot. His Medium blog is fantastic. There's a great piece came out earlier this week, so do check that out. But yeah, I think the idea of listening to Kobe, Ledger, and Arthur Hayes all sitting down and talking crypto, I mean, there's a lot to discuss there. So that episode, I don't know if they've recorded it yet. It's certainly not out, but that is certainly something to keep a lookout for. But in the meantime, listen to check out the Up Only podcast anyway, because it's brilliant. Another podcast that I've been getting massively into, that has absolutely nothing to do with crypto, I'm afraid, but it's just fascinating. It's called the Fall of Civilizations podcast. I stumbled across that on Spotify. I don't know how, quite by accident. It must have been recommended to me, and it is so good. I really do recommend it. The Fall of Civilizations podcast. Like I say, absolutely nothing to do with crypto, folks. But then, as I also say, we can't live and breathe and talk crypto, 24/7, can we? We all need a bit of downtime. So yeah, and especially on a day like today, when the markets just aren't playing ball, consider having a few hours away from crypto over this weekend. And yeah, the Fall of Civilizations podcast is just so interesting. It's the sort of thing I love because I'm really into history and things like that. But it's just a guy talking about various civilizations in history that have come to an end for whatever reason, and it's amazingly researched. It's got some wonderful music going on in the background. It's just fantastic. So do check that out. Fall of Civilizations podcast. Big fan. So that is a recommendation for the weekend. Dimitri, please have a pint of beer in Barcelona. Dimitri, never fear. I will probably have several. That is, if I can ever bring myself to touch booze again after yesterday, because yesterday was it was a long day. It was a great day, but it was a long day. And as you can see, I'm really feeling it. Do you think that ETH merge is overhyped? That is a good question, Nassim. That is a good question, because let's face it, the ETH merge is a huge moment. Ethereum switching to proof of stake. There's no denying that is, certainly one of the big moments in crypto this year. But of course, what so many people always, forget is that this isn't, once ETH switches to proof of stake, we hope in less than a month's time, that is not suddenly going to make Ethereum super fast or super cheap, because there's so much more that needs to happen, in this switch to what we're not allowed to call Ethereum 2. Because, we've also got the purge, the splurge, the verge, as well as the merge. I think there's one other one as well. It's gone out of my head. So in short, ETH2 is ETH proof of stake. The merge is a big moment, but it is certainly it's a big step, but on a long old journey. So I think there is a case to say that perhaps it is getting a little overhyped because we're not going to suddenly see gas fees in the fractions of a cent. We're not going to see Ethereum just whizzing along all of a sudden. That we're still a while away from that. We're still at least a year away from that, I think, and possibly longer. Oh my word! Did you hear that? This is the benefits of broadcasting to you from my dad's study. There's also just outside that door is the world's loudest grandfather clock. It is absolutely, it's insane. We are all George. I love George. He's great, isn't he? And obviously, Sir Seneca, as you point out, the big news, obviously, with the merge is that the supply of ETH hitting the market. Goodness, I've gone a bit out of focus there, haven't I? That is going to change dramatically. So it's certainly, as I say, proof the merge is going to be big. But we're not there. We're not there yet. The dinner bell. That was the dinner bell, wasn't it? Summoning us all to dinner. Is not ice cream time. Oh, it is ice cream time. I think my mum has some ice creams in the fridge. This is the great thing about coming to stay with your parents for a few days, or as some of you wags have pointed out, I've clearly been cleaned out by this latest dump and have had to move back in with my parents. My parents are just very, very pleased to see me and probably wondering when I'm going to go away again. Guy's grandfather clock is 1 minute out. It is. You're right. But I mean, it seems to be about 1,000 years old, so I think it's doing pretty well. It is so loud, that thing. So when I lived with my parents many, many years ago, and I worked at a pub not far from where we lived, I used to come back very late at night, and I could hear that thing chiming from literally halfway down the street. I don't know how it didn't wake up the entire street, several times a night, because it would just dong. I mean, imagine that thing donging for 12 straight. Anyhow, a lot of you, can you show us the clock? Goodness, can I? Let me see. You might be able to see it from the door. No. It's sort of tucked away just round the corner. I'll try and get a photo of it and put it up for you. But it's massive, isn't it? It's massive and very, very loud. Anyway, folks, it's gone 4 o'clock as my dad's grandfather clock has told us. I always drink coffee next to your office, Lavazza. Oh, they make a good coffee in there, don't they? They're very nice in that store. So this is a big Lavazza coffee place just near our office in Soho in London. They're very, very polite. You normally just walk in and get a coffee. Like, they kind of wait on you hand and foot there, but they do make a damn good cup of coffee. So I might see you in there one of these days. Thanks everyone for. Excellent podcast. Jason, you're welcome. Enjoy the podcast, sir. Enjoy, up only. The Coin Bureau podcast as well. I should shill my own podcast, shouldn't I? It's part 2 of our Mad Mike and my discussion about cashless society from last week. It went on, we decided to chop it up into 2 episodes, but that was a really interesting episode to do. And again, I don't know if I think I've talked about the book Cloud Money before, but by Brett Scott, which kind of formed the basis for a lot of that episode. There's another recommendation for you. Cloud Money, a book by Brett Scott. I don't actually have my copy to hand, but that is another a really, really good book. And I've got a few more book recommendations coming your way. I basically got a stack of them, and I'm trying to find the time to read them all. I don't drink coffee, but champagne. It's after a few chilled glasses of wine yesterday, even the mention of booze is bringing me out in a cold sweat. Will we see a Guy coin soon? Rock dogs? Well, I don't know. No, I don't think the world needs a Guy coin. Do you? Yeah, I don't think the world is ready. I think there are quite quite enough coins out there at the moment. Is Mad Mike still married? Gareth, he only got married a couple of weeks ago. He is still married, I think. He is, as far as I know, he is still married. His wife is absolutely lovely. She is, and has the patience of a saint to put up with Mad Mike. Can you please tell my girlfriend Sophie that crypto is the future? Sophie, crypto is the future. You heard it here first. Good. Start an OnlyFans. I certainly don't think the world is ready for that as well. I think, there's enough trauma in the world as it is without a Coin Bureau OnlyFans. So you can put that one on ice. When is the next bull run, Kifo? We're a long way from that. Next bull run, goodness, certainly not this year. I can tell you that. Can I have some financial advice? Oh, Gav. Chris, Ethereum Classic will rally with ETH. Yeah, I mentioned this a little earlier on. Yeah, I think if ETH and the rest of the market rallies on the merge, I think Ethereum Classic will as well, because a lot of people will be using Ethereum Classic to kind of hedge in case anything goes wrong with the merge. And obviously the talk of perhaps Ethereum miners moving, not being able to mine a proof of stake Ethereum anymore, a proof of work Ethereum anymore, will move across to mine Ethereum Classic. That's what a lot of people are predicting. So goodness me, my hair's a mess, isn't it? So we could very well see basically any coin or token that has any sort of connection to ETH could very well rally further on the merge news. But again, as I say, folks, you've got to be really, really careful out there, because these are tough conditions to trade in. What goes up comes down pretty quickly, and we have seen that. Okay. So is Solana still worth it? Check out my latest video. I put one up yesterday, and have a look and see what you think. Because a lot has happened with Solana, not all of it good. Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, thinks that Solana is the most underrated crypto out there. And I mean, he would say that, wouldn't he? Seeing as FTX, basically runs a lot of it. Check out. Can I borrow that Rubik's cube? You'd be very welcome, Jeg. You'd be very welcome, because neither my father nor I can make. I haven't got time for Rubik's cubes. Like, I've never been. I saw this extraordinary video the other day of someone doing one whilst juggling Rubik's cubes and also completing them. It was absolutely insane. Nicholas, sorry, but who is Mad Mike? Mad Mike is one of my oldest friends, and he and I do the Coin Bureau podcast together. I basically tell him all about crypto. He's got masses of crypto because he's an absolute degen, but by his own admission, doesn't know an awful lot about it. So we get together on the podcast, and I basically dump contents of my brain at him and see how we get on, and we record it for your listening pleasure. Are we just getting started with recession? Worst is yet to come. I'm afraid so, crypto addict. Yeah, that is very much how I see it, I'm afraid. And to go back to what I was talking about at the top of the stream as well, these recession fears are not going away. We've got things like house buying slowing down in the States. We've got warnings of layoffs. We've got bad earnings calls for the likes of Target. We've got the likes of Walmart. Even though they had a decent earnings call, they're issuing warnings as well. Consumer sentiment is going down, and obviously people are saving. People are only buying essentials. So I think we are in for some tough months, and I think once the summer fades, it could be a pretty tough winter, folks. So make sure you're dug in. Don't overreach yourselves. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Keep yourselves well hedged. Okay. Was there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I've given you a few recommendations for things to look at this weekend. There's lots more stuff coming up on Coin Bureau, so I'm going to spend a little bit of this weekend. The European Central Bank has basically just come out and said that it basically needs a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, in order to keep the current fiat Ponzi scheme going. So that is, I'm going to be researching that over the weekend for a video next week. Share with you some of the best crypto tools out there, because it's a bear market, so you should all be using the time and the absence of any hype to do some research, do some serious research, get digging. And yeah, a couple of other things as well that I'm going to be looking at too. But I'm hoping I might be able to join you for maybe a short live stream from Barcelona. It depends whether Mrs. Guy lets me. But yeah, next Thursday, heading off to Barcelona to celebrate a friend's birthday, friend's 40th, in Barcelona, and then heading on to Dubai, which is where I'm going to base myself for a few weeks, because yeah, I've been talking about going out there for ages. There's a few events and stuff that I want to go to out there. Sorry, get my hair. Oh God, it's a mess, isn't it? No vampires remain in Romania. Robin, you've been picking up on that. Yeah, and I'll recommend my current favorite song, which is called No Vampires Remain in Romania by, is it King Luan? Absolutely brilliant tune. So Mrs. Guy doesn't have the best ring to it. No, I think she feels like that as well. Anyway, folks, it was a long old day yesterday, as you can tell. I'm tired, looking pretty lived in at the moment. So I'm going to let you guys get on with your weekend. Thank you so much for joining me today, folks. It's been a pleasure as always. I promise that next time I live stream, whenever that will be, I will try and look a bit perkier, not so washed out, not so hungover. But yeah, I couldn't let the summer come to an end without visiting Lords for a day at the cricket, and unfortunately that never ends well. But thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for all your kind words. Thank you for going kind of relatively easy on me. As I said, when I'm in this sort of state, I just need you guys to be nice and gentle. So thank you very well for that. Wear suit and let's do champagne soon. It's giving me a headache just thinking about it. Anyway, folks, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Let's hope the markets tick back up. So next time I speak to you, either Barcelona or Dubai, let's see. But yeah, I hope you all stay very well in the meantime. Enjoy your hangover. Thank you. Enjoy. Thank you, you and Mrs. Guy. Mrs. Guy sends her very best wishes to all of you. And when Mad Mike coin, oh my word, any day now. Anyhow, folks, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you so much. And I will see you all again very soon. Adios. Auf Wiedersehen. That's all I can think. Those are all the foreign language goodbyes I can think of. What's the au revoir? Oh dear, it's been a long week. All right, folks, take it easy and see you soon. Okay, goodbye to you.